Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thanks for all you stopping by and watch. Busy day for us here. This is our day for our monthly meeting. Encourage many of you, all of you, if you can. I mean, I don't think we could quite hold all of you in the building, but as many of you that can come, be there this morning or today. Officially starts at 2 o'clock. We usually have the doors open about 11 because we encourage people to come early and just fellowship, get to know each other, talk, share ideas. That's such a dangerous thing these days. We don't want you doing that. But it's going to be a good one today. You know, a lot of times we have a special speaker that does some kind of lecture or demonstration or a class or whatever. But a few times a year, we do just kind of an open forum. And that's kind of the idea today. We're going to be focused on, situational awareness, personal security, in light of things that are happening over the last few weeks, how the temperature of the nation has increased. And so it should be a good one to attend, but they're family friendly. They're great. We've been doing this for years and years now. So definitely try to come out if you're able to. Overnight, I guess, or yesterday evening, it looks like, there was a couple of shootings, mass shootings, which falls in line with exactly what we're talking about today. One in South Carolina, out in a boating area, on a boat dock or something like that. Another one in Texas, I think Eagle Pass or something like that. So, it just reiterates the point that we're in a dangerous time right now, and I think it's a combination. I don't think that there's any one thing that you can point to. It's not just transgenders. It's not just Antifa sympathizing people. It's not just far left. I mean, that's probably a lot of it, but it's also just the vitriol and the hatred and the love of men's hearts is growing cold, and the medications that are being pushed down everyone's throat, and the media and the music and everything. It's all coming together. And this has been building for years and years. I mean, a decade or two ago, people were warning about what this culture that was being developed is going to lead to. And I think we're finally starting to see it. So I don't think it's necessarily one thing that's causing it. It's just a big bunch of things that's kind of come together. And it's a sad state that we're in, but it's also dangerous. And I know every time I talk about this kind of stuff, I get people that say this, and I'm sure there's many, many more that think this. Yeah, but it's not that way where I'm at. It's not that way where I'm at. Like for instance, me personally, where I live right now, it's not dangerous like that. But I bet you these places that this has happened, they would probably have told you the same thing before they happened. These mass acts of violence are not, they're not happening. I mean, they are, but they're not happening in like the most high crime rate inner city. They are happening there. They're happening there every day. But they've been happening there for a long time, and everyone already knows that. Chicago and East St. Louis and different places, they just happen there. But what we're seeing, the difference is we're seeing these things happen in places that no one expected them to happen. Various cities and even smaller communities. That violence it's just random, just these random acts of violence. Is some of it controlled? Is it planned? Is it orchestrated? Probably some of it is, yeah. And I think some of it is just, people are losing their noodle, and they've turned their backs against God, and they've filled their life with, social media that just that fulfills their preconceived hatred, and then of course that's topped off with all kinds of pharmaceuticals and chemicals and everything else. So it's a recipe for disaster, and this is something that we all need to be taking very seriously, because like I pointed out last night, if you watched last night's late night video, the country is moving in a direction of potential violence. And I think a lot of it is orchestrated. And some of you that still, greatly favor Donald Trump, I think a lot of what's going on is to purposely push for, things to get worse. And you look at what's going into the big cities, the National Guard, the federal, officers, agents and stuff. The language that's being used, this is war on the streets, Department of War. I think that they envision themselves as revolutionaries. And maybe in the end it'll work out great, but whether or not that happens, during the interim, it's going to be rough. And even Donald Trump has said that early on in his time in office, and when he was running for office, he mentioned a few times it's going to be rough, And so I think we're starting to see that as more and more of this stuff comes out. So you definitely need to be prepared for that. It's not something to just, this is kind of like the bread and butter for preppers, is to be prepared for these violent times, right? Whether they come to your home, to your business, or just you just randomly find yourself in the midst of it. And that is something that we have to be prepared for. And regardless of whether you're some, ex-Army Ranger, Marine, whatever, or your, little grandma, you can be prepared. You can take measures to defend yourself and to have a means to escape, all of that, if you pre-plan. I'm not saying it's going to go perfectly if you plan, but you're way better off having a plan than to just ignoring it and then randomly finding yourself in the midst of chaos. And always remember this, that if you plan, if you do have a very, thorough plan on what to do if you find yourself in the midst of some type of violent act, maybe you've trained for it, maybe you went and got professional training. Always remember this, it's never going to go the way that you planned and the way that you trained. It's just not. It's going to be a lot more chaotic. It's going to seem maybe in the moment that your plan is not working, but that's not true. For me, having a plan, doing training, whether professional or just as a small group or whatever, the point is that it's to get yourself, your mind and your body into that mode of how to react, to be able to think outside the box, to think quickly, not so much to follow the plan in detail, because it's never going to happen that way. It's no difference than in, the things that I'm doing on the county level now, doing emergency planning. We know that if an emergency happens, it's not going to go by the textbook that we have planned. The idea is that we have developed something so that when bad things happen, it can be fluid and it can change, but we can fall back to that. Okay. So know that it's not going to go as planned, but you still need to be prepared for that and have the right things to defend yourself, protect yourself, get out of there, communicate, all those kind of things. So it's getting worse. It's what it is. Our meetings, back to that, as I circle back, to our monthly meetings, we've been doing these things almost 6 years now. And I really don't know that there's anyone else, or at least too many other places out there that's doing the same kind of stuff that we're doing with our monthly meeting. They're big, 100, 200 people, sometimes 300 people. We have an open market, and that's growing. Every month we'll have, 12, 18, 20, some businesses that are set up. These are, crafting type businesses, different things, selling food, selling all kinds of stuff, guns, ammo, you name it, it's being sold. And we don't charge for that. We encourage using alternative currencies, and some of them do that. It's very, very family friendly. We encourage that. A lot of types of prepper group meetings and stuff, they discourage bringing children, and that just boggles my mind. How can you build any type of community if you're excluding children? So we encourage children. Does it get noisy in there because we have a bunch of kids in there? Yeah, it does. And we encourage family, parents to try to mitigate that noise. But we also know that's just how it is. You're going to have 200 people and 40 of them are children or something like that. It's going to be noisy. I kind of like it for the most part. I love the children there. It's like a big family. It's one of my highlights of the month. It's going to, see all of them, get hugs from them and stuff. And that's what it's developed over the years, especially people that's been coming for 5 years. It's like a big family. That's the whole point. That was the point of doing this. Now, I'm saying all that because to highlight that having community, having that connection with people around you is vital to what we're going through. I know that there's still some people out there that disagree with that. It's people out there that think that they can just lone wolf it and stuff. And there are a few people in the world that are capable of that, but most are not. And trying to find it, trying to build it, whatever you can do. I don't think it's too late for that. I think it's extremely important. I don't think it's natural for us to be alone. I mean, that's biblical. And so even if you don't live anywhere near here, and I'm talking about the Missouri Ozarks, you need to try to find it. And for those of you that say, I live in this crazy Looney Tune liberal area and there's no one like me, man, maybe you should try to move. I know that's crazy, that's expensive, that's difficult. I get it. And some of you just are not going to. And for those that's just determined that you're not going to move, you need to make the best of what you got and plan, much more than the average person. But I'm telling you, you've got to build people around you. And just because you have all these people in community doesn't mean it all works fine. I mean, it's like family, families fight, families stab you in the back, family get mad at each other. I mean, that's just family, right? And it happens too. It's not perfect. People get upset, they leave, but it's also it's a sifting process. It's separating, the wheat and the tares kind of thing, and we're finding out over the years the people that are true, that are willing to make it work, even through hardship. There's been people that have participated in our meetings, and someone says something that they get offended, and they're gone. They never come back. And then there's other people that, they get offended or hurt, and they're still there. And things may be a little tender for a while, and then they work it out. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're hoping to find is are people that can pull together and they understand what it means to have a community. It's not easy. People tend to step on each other's toes and get hurt and get mad and all that, but it's that's not as important as it is of how they can mend it together. And so that's just another aspect of it. I feel like I'm rambling right now, but I'm always excited. These days, these once a month meetings, they're physically exhausting for me, but they are a massive blessing. And so hope that I can see a lot of you today. And then next month, I'll talk about it at the meeting today. So if you come to the meeting, you'll hear next month's meeting is going to be awesome. Maybe the biggest, best meeting we've ever had. Very excited about that. All right. Get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.